Hey guys, I'm going to start up doing video logs again. I used to do them quite frequently and then I just kind of stopped. So I'll start it up again for the rest of this year at least. There's a few comps that I have coming up. The first is Junior Nationals, which is about 6 weeks away. And then the one after that, which is still undecided, is the Pacific Invitational in Sydney. Both powerlifting meets. Now with the Pacific Invitational, I need an invite to be able to lift there. So I'm hoping that my invite gets approved. It's still kind of 50-50, so that is not a definite, but I'm hoping it does. And the reason for that is I'm going for the world record deadlift for the junior 74s. And you can only break world records at international meets. And the only international meet left this year in Sydney is the Pacific Invitational. Unless I decide to go to Canada to do, I think Commonwealth is in Canada, which I probably won't, but yeah, hoping for that. Training at the moment's been going really good. I've been working under Ali Syed from Adapt Strength and Fitness. I don't usually trust people with my programming. I trust like probably 3 people I can name that I would say, yeah, I trust giving you the reins, and Ali's definitely one of them. And what I look for most in a coach, me being a coach myself, I know the value of it, is someone who can approach a situation, approach a client, approach adjustments with a critical aspect. So rather than just having predetermined, this is progress, this is what we're going to do, someone who actually thinks about the situation and says, these are the factors that are going into this. What is the best way that we can approach this to get the end outcome? And I really trust him in that sense. Very smart guy. So he's taken over my programming for the last week. So coming off of an intro microcycle, just finished it yesterday. Lower volume, lower intensity, just to sort of let me heal up a bit and prep me for the rest of this block, because we've got 6 weeks ahead of us, so we do have to sort of pace ourselves. I have had hip issues in the past, which I go over in some of my older video logs. I don't even know where they are, which channel they're on, but it took me out for about 6 months last year in total of just having hip issues. I had x-rays done, I had ultrasounds, I think I had a CT scan. They didn't show anything, but I was in pain that I couldn't even walk upstairs, so squatting was out of the question, as was deadlifting. Eventually ended up getting an MRI where they put some dye into my hip, and they it's a really sort of holistic view of the hip. They look at the soft tissues, hard tissues, to make sure that there was no torn labrum, because we ran out of options for basically what it could be. And I went to see an orthopedic surgeon, and he said he thinks it's a torn labrum. So that's why we got that MRI done, and there was nothing wrong with the soft or hard tissues, which made us feel comfortable to sort of inject me with a cortisone shot. What he ended up saying was, you've just inflamed the tendon. Because of my hip structure, I've got quite wide hips. He said you're just generally more prone to it. So I inflamed the hip tendon that attaches to the adductor and the adductor complex. So that was last year. I had that cortisone jab about 9 months ago, and it started flaring up recently. Not to the extent it did last year, but it was enough for me to have to reduce my sumo pulling, and same with my back squats. I've had to, for the last training block, I only had 2 back squat sessions and 1 front squat session, whereas I'm generally 3 to 4 back squat sessions. Same with sumo, I was using conventional as another way to rack up volume. But now that I did get another cortisone jab, I got that last week, Wednesday or Tuesday. I went back to him and he said the same thing. He said it's not nearly as bad as it was before. Before, when I got the cortisone jab, it was 10 out of 10 pain. I could barely walk out upstairs. Sitting down for like 20 minutes would hurt. It was terrible. Whereas this time I could still squat, I could still do a lot of that stuff. It was just there, like it was constantly in the back of my mind. And I weighed up the pros and cons, and the pros to getting a cortisone just outweighed the cons. Like, I was starting to change my movement patterns to try work around my hip, and it was leading to other issues. My shoulders started hurting because I was getting rotation and all these sorts of things. So I went back to him and he said same thing as before. Gave me a cortisone jab, and what he was talking about was, because I voiced my concerns that of the potential of cortisone weakening tendons over time. And he said that's very valid if the cortisone goes directly into the tendon. And what he actually does is, he's a very smart guy, very, very smart dude. he puts the cortisone into the muscle itself. So when you get the jab, it hurts a little bit more, but you don't get that sort of wearing of the tendon because it doesn't go directly into the tendon. It just sort of relieves the inflammation locally around the area. So this is the second one I got. So the day after I got it, it was still a little bit sore once the anesthetic wore off, because that's one of the ways they see if they put it in the right spot, is they give it with anesthetic. So once they put it into your hip, if you get immediate relief, they've got it in the right place, and it's not because of the cortisone, it's just they know if the anesthetic's working in that area. So yeah, the day after was a little bit sore, and then the day after that I woke up at 100%. I had no issues, still don't have any issues, so back to full training, which is amazing, because one of the things with the last couple of blocks, probably the last 2 blocks, I've had to lower my frequency on the main lifts, squat and dead, simply because of my hip, and I've still been able to progress pretty well with squat and sumo deads. So now that I can go back to a regular frequency, get my volume in on those lifts and really practice those lifts, and drill down technique, it's going to have a pretty significant impact, which will help me get that world record. So yeah, I will be starting these back up. I'll include more actual training from this week, because last week was kind of boring, it was light stuff. But yeah, those are mostly the adjustments that we're going to be making. We've taken a pretty big, a significant leap, about a 20% jump in volume across all 3 lifts, and intensity's come up on mostly squat and dead. And I'll get more footage this week of actual in the gym lifting, and I'll put it together in like a video weekly recap type thing. So yeah, I'm going to keep these going, and if you haven't checked out Ali, I'd go check him out. Ali, I don't know what his YouTube name is, I think YouTube Adapt Strength and Fitness, and you'll find him somewhere on there. He's also started video recaps, so if you want to follow his training, go on there as well. I'd highly recommend that. Anyway, that's it for this week. I'll keep you guys posted with next week's video log once I post it. See you guys.